So I just saw Ready Player One, and it's the first movie I've seen all year that I can say with complete honesty and without an ounce of irony that I hated.
So I haven't read the book, and if this movie's anything to go by, I no longer have any interest in doing so. This movie was a chore and a snore. I went to a 3 p.m. showing and I wanted to go to bed the entire time. I looked at my watch while I was seeing this movie and saw that it was 4 o'clock. 3 hours later, I checked the time and it was only 4:15. That's bullshit. If a 2-hour movie could feel like 6 hours, reading the book must feel like 10 years.
This movie's so boring, it's fucking with the space-time continuum, creating a neutron star of sluggish nothingness.
Ready Player One is the story of Wade Watts, which sounds like a superhero name. Wade lives in a reference world, a place where licensing costs are astronomical, a place where everything is references, and people communicate in references, and they eat, sleep, and shit references. Hey, do you remember in Avengers when Captain America said, "I understood that reference"? Well, what if we made an entire movie centered around references, and not even good ones?
This movie should have been called Ready Contextless Nod to Something That Will Excite Belligerent Fanboys or Dumb Children. Might not fit on a marquee, but it would have been accurate.
Well, it turns out that Reference World is a VR MMO called Gun Gale Online. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's a VR MMO called Yggdrasil. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's a VR MMO called Elder Tale. No, I'm just kidding. It's a VR MMO called Disboard. See, I can make references too. Now, I know the immediate criticism against me. Chris, a lot of your jokes stem from references. The t-shirts you wear are contextless references. What's so bad about Ready Player One's references?
Well, first and foremost, my contextless reference graphic t-shirts aren't driving a story. Characters, themes, and nuance aren't screen printed onto them, they're just t-shirts. The story of this movie is entirely dependent upon references.
What can you tell me about Wade Watts as a character, and his connection to the themes of the story? One of the major themes is enjoying reality because reality is the only thing that's real. Now that's an admirable theme, but the main character shows no proclivity to believing it until the end of the movie. And it's not the result of a character arc, it's because he gets to bang his love interest on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But let's be honest though, there's no point in deeply analyzing this movie. Most won't see it for interesting characters. They don't care why Wade Watts is racing, they just care that he's driving a DeLorean, and that he needs to dodge King Kong and the T-Rex from Jurassic Park. And oh look, Spielberg threw a nod to the weebs by having a character drive Condida's motorcycle from Akira.
Once you get past that fleeting moment of saying, "Ooh, I know what that is," what are you left with?
There's 7 million references in this movie. They aren't given any time to be noticed or appreciated outside of a scant few, to the point that when you leave this movie, after you've thrown your empty bag of popcorn away, or the more gullible among you have returned your 3D glasses, what are you left with? When you get to your car to discuss the film, what are you going to say? "Oh, I like the part with the Twisted Sister song, that's a good song. I like the part with the Iron Giant, that movie's so sad. I like the part with the Gundam, no son of mine likes anime." Or something like that. What's the major point that I'm making? At the end of the day, Ready Player One exists to remind you of how much better what's being referenced is than Ready Player One, or how Ready Player One ruined something that it was referencing. The Iron Giant doesn't do anything in this movie, it's just there for a fight scene. Tracer from Overwatch doesn't say, "Cavalry's air, loves." She's just there for a fight scene. There's an entire 20 minutes spent shitting on The Shining. If James Halliday really considered it one of his top 10 favorite horror movies, why did he dedicate an entire level of his shitty video game and turning it into a zombie game? What? Now, this isn't the worst movie that I've seen this year from a technical standpoint. I've seen far worse, and I didn't really care for the look of the movie, but again, from a technical level, it's fine. It's sensical, it's uncomplicated, and safe. It won't challenge anybody on an intellectual level. However, it is my least favorite movie that I've seen in 2018. More so than The Open House, which at least had some funny moments. More so than Winchester, which at least had some decent ideas. More so than The Strangers 2, which also had scenes based entirely around references, but in that movie, those scenes actually added to the film and were more than just a split-second visual.
Ready Player One is a cynical, boring, ugly, and lazy film. I didn't like it, and I feel no shame giving it a 1 out of 10.